You wake beneath a sky still inked with night, feeling the familiar tug of unfinished plans and the silent ache of questions that slept beside you. Can today's hurry ever shelter pause? Can a fragile heart sense God's steady presence? In this thin hour, dawn lingers behind the horizon, a single breath between darkness and first light, offering you space to listen where worries usually shout. The one who reigns beyond time waits here, strong and unwavering refuge, inviting you to lay every schedule aside, to receive strength deeper than striving, to steady your steps before the morning breaks. Be still and know that I am God. As Psalm 46:10, stillness is not emptiness, it is the meeting place where love anchors you and purpose is whispered. What weight do you need to surrender before the songbirds rise? Which desire longs to rest beneath his shielding wings? Now, as your heart grows still, we step into the sacred pause where presence, listening, strength, and guided steps lead toward a purposeful dawn. The earth's first gleam has not yet brushed your window, yet the room holds a quiet pulse, urging you to unclench every hurried thought. You breathe in, letting the air settle like soft dust after a storm, and sense God's nearness, drawing a circle of calm around your restless spirit. Here, movement pauses without guilt. Here, you refuse the tyranny of instant replies and unfinished lists. You choose to linger, noticing the faint hush of wind against leaves, the distant eagle gliding on invisible thermals, the slow rhythm of your own heartbeat aligning with eternity. The Father does not measure you by speed, but by surrender. Each second inside this hush becomes a seed. When you allow silence to cover you, faith takes root beneath the soil of trust. You remember his ancient promise, in quietness and trust is your strength. So Isaiah 30:5, holy stillness is not weakness, it forges courage, frames vision, and enlarges hope until you see beyond the immediate horizon. Let the breath you hold be a benediction. Picture yourself stepping off a bustling street into a cathedral of dawn, sunbeams filtering through stained clouds in delicate gold. There is nothing to prove here, only a gentle invitation to be known and renewed. You release the anxiety gripping your shoulders and feel it fall like sand through open fingers. This sacred pause does not erase today's responsibilities. Instead, it baptizes them, washing dust from each task until they shimmer with purpose. Allow the Spirit to gather errant thoughts like scattered feathers, arranging them into quiet order. Hear his voice in the stillness. Wait with me. You are not losing time, you are investing it in eternity's currency. Even your bloodstream testifies, slowing from anxious rush to measured cadence, every beat proclaiming that divine peace outlasts the fiercest storm. In this hush, gratitude surfaces unforced, thankfulness for lungs that fill, for the impending sunrise, for mercies uncounted yet certain. Stay a little longer. Let the hush stretch like a sail catching a morning breeze, directing you toward waters where striving cannot reach. Your horizon widens, and what once felt impossible shrinks before the grandeur of God's sovereignty. You discover that hope is born strongest when the world is quiet, and resolve is forged most firmly when you kneel before moving. When the first rays finally pierce the horizon, you will rise not as one frantic for direction, but as a soul fortified by stillness, ready to walk at heaven's unhurried pace. The morning hush deepens as you draw another unhurried breath, feeling your spine lengthen and your shoulders soften. In this widening quiet, you notice the simple cadence of inhale and exhale, the light thud of your pulse, the scented promise of dew lifting from grass outside your window. Each sensation anchors you to the now, calling you away from roaming memories and future projections. Like a compass swinging toward true north, your awareness turns toward the one who already fills the room with invisible majesty. You need not hunt for him. His nearness is woven into the still air, steady as the horizon that will soon ignite with sunrise. You begin to name what competes for the center. Deadlines, unfinished conversations, whispering fears that today might run faster than grace. Lay them down, one by one, as if placing stones beside a river whose current carries them out of sight. With every release, emptiness transforms into holy capacity. You find fresh room for love, perception, and gentle courage. I have set the Lord always before you, because he is at your right hand. You shall not be moved. Suppose Psalm 16:8, when your gaze rests on his steadfast presence. Turbulence cannot unseat your peace. The ground of your soul remains firm, even when surroundings shift. Notice how this centered place feels neither fragile nor passive. It is a firm foothold. Like an ancient oak rooted through centuries of winter, you stand resilient, nourished by invisible streams. The rush of doubt eases, replaced by a low hum of assurance. You no longer measure time by ticking seconds, but by the quiet expansion of trust within your chest. The spirit aligns thought, emotion, and intention until they resonate like strings tuned to the same key, singing expectancy instead of anxiety. You can sense heaven's rhythm echoing through ordinary sounds, kettle water simmering, distant traffic, a bird testing its dawn song. These mundane notes blend into liturgy, reminding you that sacredness does not wait behind stained glass doors. It pulses in every corner of your ordinary morning. Centered presence grants eyes to see that even familiar walls gleam with promise when illumined by divine companionship. Allow this still core to govern your posture. Meetings, errands, and unforeseen interruptions will attempt to pull you off balance. Yet the memory of this centered moment remains a silent metronome guiding your pace. If agitation rises later, you can return. 2 slow breaths, a whispered, "You are here," and the axis of peace steadies again. This practiced returning is not failure, it is faithful rhythm, as waves continually return to shore. Before you rise, trace a final circle of gratitude around this encounter. Thank the Father for a presence that holds you when plans splinter, for wisdom unfolding one quiet directive at a time, for peace durable enough to brave the world's clamor. Step from this room carrying an inner sanctuary no crowd can invade. Moving from a centered heart, your words will soothe, your decisions will carry clarity, and your feet will find the right cadence. Quick when mercy calls, slow when listening is needed, always aligned with heaven's gentle tempo. You stay within the gentle orbit of quiet, letting its calm gravity pull your awareness inward until every hurried echo fades. At first, the hush feels most loud. Thoughts flutter, hopes rustle, distant worries tap like rain on a roof. But you resist the urge to fill the void, choosing instead to listen beneath noise for the slow music of the spirit. You picture a meadow at dawn, mist lifting from muted grass, a single lark pausing before it sings. That same pause settles inside you, and your inner field grows receptive, fertile for divine syllables too soft for crowded rooms. You realize hearing God is less about effort and more about attunement. The Creator's voice travels on frequencies humility alone can register, frequencies tuned during long, consenting stillness. So you breathe low and light, like a sail catching faint wind, and let distractions drift past without argument. You are not ignoring them. You are prioritizing presence over clamor. After the fire came a gentle whisper. I 1 Kings 19:12. God often bypasses thunderous spectacle and chooses a tender breath, training you to treasure subtlety and deep independence. Listen now for nuances, a surge of gratitude that arrives unannounced. An image of someone who needs kindness today, a scripture fragment resurfacing like a shell tossed ashore. Each may be a note in a larger melody. He's composing for your path. You do not dissect every impression. You hold them loosely, allowing the Spirit to weave or release them as He wills. Awareness sharpens, yet striving subsides. Your posture is that of open hands, receiving and releasing with equal trust. As minutes unfold, you notice how creation teaches this posture. Trees absorb light before producing fruit. Rivers rest in channels before carving valleys. The earth itself turns slowly, carrying oceans and mountains without haste. By mirroring creation's patience, you align with heaven's pace. The silence becomes textured, alive with possibility. Rather than scanning the future for answers, you let the present speak, through rustling leaves outside, through the rhythmic drip of coffee, through the distant hum of city streets, slowly waking. Every sound is a reminder that God's voice threads through ordinary life, ready to guide each step once ears grow practiced in recognizing it. Should stray fears surface, what if I misshare? What if silence stays silent? You meet them with assurance. The shepherd does not mock his sheep with coded riddles. His guidance may feel gentle, but it is sure, and he delights in clarifying as you move. When uncertainty presses later, you can recall this morning's tuning. 2 breaths, a whisper of his name, and the channel clears again. Repetition is not failure, but formation, shaping your inner landscape into an acoustically pure chamber where heaven echoes easily. Let gratitude close this listening. Thank Him for whispers that bypass logic, yet steady the soul, for counsel hidden in restful minutes, for the humility cultivated when you wait instead of dictate. Rise prepared to translate quiet revelation into gentle speech, compassionate choices, courageous pauses amid bustle. Carry an ear ever tilted toward the unseen, in boardrooms, classrooms, traffic lanes. Let the practiced stillness rehearse itself, guiding you to speak only words seasoned by the silences that birthed them. Morning hush remains your sanctuary, yet something shifts within that stillness. A pulse of resilient power awakens, like the sea gathering unseen momentum beneath a glassy surface. You sit unmoving, yet every breath fills deeper, anchoring muscles rising light barely brushes the horizon, and already you sense a reservoir of courage swelling behind calm eyes. Silence has become a forge, its radiant heat tempering fragile places into quiet steel. You taste this confidence in the air, subtle as cedar, enduring as granite, and you realize motion is not the only proof of vitality. Readiness can grow strongest when the body rests. The Lord will fight for you. You need only to be still. Exodus 1400 Serve. Holy strength is God-sourced, not self-manufactured. His might surrounds you before your first task, arming you with assurance that today's battles meet a warrior already present. Stillness is therefore strategy, not retreat. Imagine an alpine tree clinging to cliffside rock, limbs unmoved by howling gusts because roots bite deep into centuries-old stone. This is your interior landscape now. Rooted confidence coursing beneath placid surface, sap flowing slowly yet persistently toward budding promise. The voices that once accused you of wasting time in prayer now sound faint against the thunderous quiet of divine advocacy. You are held, braced by hands invisible, yet unmistakably strong. Even your heartbeat acknowledges this truth, drumming assurance instead of urgency, reminding every chamber of the Spirit that the one who guards you does not slumber. Turn your thoughts toward looming obligations, conversations that may sting, projects demanding innovation, decisions with long shadows. See each as a wave approaching a lighthouse, founded on bedrock. Impact may spray salt on pains, but foundation remains untouched. This calm confidence does not dismiss challenges, it frames them within the boundary of God's sovereignty. Pauses between breaths become miniature Sabbaths, spaces where grace slips in and oils the gears of perseverance. Should fatigue whisper later, you will remember this deep reservoir and return for fresh draughts, knowing strength multiplies in stillness like loaves in open hands. Carry this quiet power into corridors buzzing with agendas. Let your words emerge measured, your gaze steady, your pace unhurried, not from apathy, but from assurance. People near you may notice the gentler cadence, the calm around your actions, and wonder at its source. Offer them the same invitation that steadies you. Pause first, let God lead, then move. For now, linger a breath longer. Feel the architect of galaxies, reinforcing every fiber of resolve. Out of this still forge, you arise equipped not merely to survive, but to uplift, not merely to finish tasks, but to infuse them with grace. When the horizon finally blazes gold, you will step forward clothed in strength that quiet never diminishes. The hush you have fostered now bears fruit, an inner compass awakens, pointing steadily through the dawning maze of choices. You feel the subtle shift from resting to readiness, like a kestrel opening wings the instant a thermal rises. No frantic map drawing, no feverish planning, only a quiet conviction that each forthcoming footfall will find solid ground. The sunrise stretches pale gold across streets and fields alike, and you sense the Spirit weaving pathways beneath light before your souls touch earth. You are invited to walk, not rush, to advance, not scramble, to partner with providence rather than dictate outcomes. Pause and picture today as a vast shoreline revealed by receding tide. Rocks, shells, and hidden pools surface, each opportunity gleaming under fresh fresh illumination. You need not inspect every glimmer. Your task is to follow the gentle pull toward what is yours to steward. In all your ways acknowledge Him, and He will make your path straight. Proverbs 3:6. Acknowledging is more than polite nodding. It is the deliberate turning of decisions toward divine wisdom, the steady refusal to plot alone, the restful belief that guidance accompanies each surrendered step. So you consider the first actions of the morning. Messages waiting, family to greet, routes to take, and hold them up to light. Watch as unnecessary obligations fade, while genuine assignments sharpen with color. Stillness has trained your eyes to discern the difference between urgency and importance. Now you walk by discernment, not demand. You do not fear the unforeseen. Surprises may rise like sudden bends in a forest trail, yet foresight has never been your shield. Trust is, the one who charted galaxies has anticipated every turn of your small road. As you move, cultivate tiny pauses. 3 breaths before answering a colleague, a silent prayer before opening a meeting agenda. The soft prayer, "Lead me," before merging into traffic. These small sabbats stitch heaven into your routine, ensuring that momentum never outruns mercy. Should a crossroads appear, career shift, difficult conversation, unexpected invitation, recall this dawn's alignment. Step aside if needed, let quiet resettle, and listen. The same voice that guided you from stillness will illuminate the fog until one branch gleams with unmistakable peace. Notice how guidance feels. Not thunder but persuasion. Not pressure but clarity. It speaks through scripture recalled mid-task, through a friend's timely word, through inward assurance that feels like sunlight warming stone. If you misstep, grace corrects without scorn. The shepherd's rod nudges you back onto green-edged paths. Your role is cooperation, not perfection. Walk on, letting gratitude spring with each stride. Thankfulness that divine thought precedes your own. That love prepares every corridor. That courage flows easier when you travel in step with unhurried omnipotence. Carry this assurance into dusk. Decisions born in dawn stillness will outlast afternoon fatigue. They will hold you upright when chatter surrounds, when deadlines press close, when winds shift. And tonight, when you lay down, you will trace the day's journey and see a subtle line of light weaving through every scene. The mark of steps guided, the evidence of holy stillness in motion. The horizon finally ignites, pouring honey, gold across rooftops and rippling fields. And you rise from stillness like a chalice lifted to receive fresh light. Every practiced pause, every breath surrendered in darkness, now pours into movement that feels deliberate, steady, true. You step toward the window and watch day unfurl. Cloud edges glowing like embers, sparrows darting in jubilant arcs, shadows shrinking before advancing brilliance. In this unveiling, you recognize an echo of your own awakening. Worry recedes, holy intention lengthens, and the ground beneath your feet hums with invitation. You are not driven forward by urgency, you are escorted by promise. In the morning, Lord, you hear my voice. In the morning, I lay my requests before you and wait expectantly. Psalm 5:3. Expectation born of stillness is not wishful gather the tools of your calling: pen, phone, gentle words, open hands, each warmed by prayer, each ready to plant seeds of grace in soil prepared long before you arrived. You walk corridors smelling of coffee and ambition, yet your steps sound different. They keep the tempo of dawn's first heartbeat, a rhythm learned when silence tutored muscle and mind. Conversations become corridors for compassion rather than arenas for control. Tasks transform into altars where excellence meets humility. Setbacks appear as detours pray, charted by wisdom deeper than sight. Because you waited, you now discern doorways others mistake for walls. Purpose does not demand spectacle. It breathes through faithfulness to the next right thing. Perhaps today's holy assignment hides in answering a single message with kindness, or pausing to bless a stranger whose eyes mirror last night's weariness. Wherever stillness escorts you, there the kingdom arrives like sunrise touching neglected corners. Should tension press, you recall the oak, rooted strength, forged in section 4. Should choices confuse, you revisit the listening heart honed in section 3. Each earlier movement remains present, layered like dawn colors, indigo of sacred pause, rose of centered presence, amber of quiet strength, blending into the bright white of purposeful action. Let gratitude be your final preparation. Thank the Father for breath that began in restful surrender and ends in creative impact, for guidance that threads invisible lines through intersections you cannot predict, for courage that now operates without frenzy. Carry hope tucked behind every thought, lifting conversations, easing burdens, planting seeds of wonder. And when shadows lengthen again, you will remember that tomorrow's dawn has already been drafted by the same faithful hand. Until then, you move. Not hurried but holy, not frantic but focused, embodying the stillness that first birthed your steps. You woke in darkness, listened until silence spoke, gathered strength without striving, and accepted guidance that shaped every footfall. Now light covers your path, and you move with deliberate grace, trusting the one who formed sunrise to order each task. If doubts return, breathe, recall the hush, and let peace resume its throne. Offer today's small acts as fragrant incense, believing nothing surrendered is wasted. Walk gently, speak life, rest often. Evening will tell the story stillness led, purpose followed, and love blossomed